are your on-field plans for Aaron this week?
Yeah, he's going to be out there and go through the individual, and he'll do some of, a lot of what we're doing team-wise is jog through. So he'll handle those reps and then some of the 7-on-7.
What do you want your rookies to take away from this week with him at the helm of the offense?
It's their first opportunity to be on the field with him, so they get to kind of learn how he operates and the expectations that we all have of all those guys out there.
Does the expectation change, or the, I guess expectations is the right word for it, or is it just too early in the process to be too hung up on that kind of stuff?
In terms of
Aaron being,
yeah, I mean, this is their first exposure to one another, so it's going to be more of everybody kind of getting a feel for each other.
Matt, you said when he came for that one day after he went to the Bucs game that you could feel the different energy. Can you feel that today too? And why do you think that's important for your young guys to be around it?
Yeah, well, I mean, he has been a captain, a leader of our football team for a long time, and these guys, I would say most of them have grown up watching him for a really long time, and for them to go out there and be in a huddle with him and be on the same field as him, I think that's a pretty exciting time for all those young guys.
He wasn't here for the minicamp last year and still had an MVP season. How much more important was it for him to be here this year just because of all the new faces at receiver?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything. I think that the more these guys can get around each other, the more they can learn each other, the quicker they can start to develop that chemistry that's so important, that we know is so important in determining our success on the field. So I'm just excited that we've got him in the building and with these young guys, and we'll see how it goes today.
Will you structure practice any different in terms of more competitive periods than OTAs with your quarterback here? Will be pretty much the same format?
Yeah, I would say it's a very similar format. A big emphasis is just making sure we get out of these OTAs healthy. Certainly you want to lay the foundation for the season in terms of just the learning. There's a lot that these guys have been asked to learn, a lot of new things. So again, it's more or less to lay that foundation for them so that when we get to training camp that we can kind of hit the ground running.
Are the reps as basic today as huddle, formation, cadence, things like that they have to learn the way Aaron runs an offense?
Yeah, I think with every quarterback, you try to get everybody to do it about the same way, but there's always some little differences, little nuances here and there with each quarterback.
When Aaron came back last year for training camp, Jordan kind of took a back seat and reclaimed the backup role. How do you expect him to handle this situation, maybe differently than that, and still continuing to be vocal even with 12 in the building? Yeah,
I don't think that you'll see much of a difference. I think Jordan, first of all, they got a great relationship, both of those guys, and so I think Jordan's going to handle it the same way he would if Aaron wasn't here when he's out on the field.
Do you think he has more comfort this year in continuing to take that leadership role than maybe he did last year?
Yeah, I would say so. I think you see it. It's like anything in life. The more reps you get at it, the more comfortable you are with the whole process. So I think he's done a nice job.
How much has Sammy Watkins done so far, and what do you have planned for him these 3 days?
He's done quite a bit in terms of just being out there and getting as many reps as we feel like he needs. But it'll be kind of the same thing that he's been doing.
Man, you mentioned some chemistry with Aaron. What building blocks do you look for, whether it's a new receiver or just kind of picking up where he left off? What do you look for at minicamp as far as building that chemistry?
Well, again, they're just learning each other. So I think it's always important for quarterbacks, no matter whether it's a receiver, tight end, running back, whoever they're throwing to, you got to learn how guys move, and it allows you can kind of read body language when a guy may or may not be breaking. So there's a lot that goes into it, and that's not something that happens overnight. That's definitely a process, and it takes time for that to develop.
Do you have any specially excused absences from this mandatory period, or is everyone full participation?
everybody that is currently signed on our roster is full participation.
Is Lazard here, ready to go?
I have not seen Alan.
Hey, Matt, going back to your approach to OTAs, you said practice today is going to be kind of similar. Has that, it's been 2 years since we had full-fledged everything normal, so if I'm forgetting, I apologize. But have you been less full speed in 11 on 11 than you preferred to be and you had been previously? And is that, I mean, even maybe last year you were more full speed, and is that injury prevention, play it safe more than anything else?
Yeah, I think so. You know, a lot of this is you're trying to train these guys how to practice, and we have different practice tempos. We have legit walkthrough, we have jog through, and then we have full go. And so we're still not quite where we want to be in terms of for all these guys working together and getting that necessary work in, because, you know, throughout the course of the season, you're gonna vary your practice tempos. So I think whether it's, you know, full speed or a jog through type setting, you need to learn how to work together. Certainly, safety is that always our primary concern, while still getting everything you need mentally. But I think that we've made some progress. I still don't think we're by anywhere close to a finished product. And I think that's kind of a trend around the league right now. If just talking to a lot of other teams and how they're structuring their practices, that seems to be a pretty common theme. I think every team is a little bit different in regards to where you are. I think the majority of our guys have kind of been through this before, and certainly when we have our developmental periods, that's when you see us with the younger guys doing more full speed 11 on 11 to get those guys just a few extra reps.
So does that trend force you to recalibrate what constitutes a productive off-season? Because you're not accomplishing as much as you have in the past, right?
Well, that's all relative. It just depends what the emphasis is. I think right now we're trying to train these guys in terms of how to practice and again, lay the foundation for what we want it to look like come fall. And, you know, it's a process for us as coaches too. There's a lot of new faces in all three phases, and we're learning these players and what they do well. And there's going to be some adjustments, I guarantee, that are going to be made coming out of this in terms of, you know, maybe some things that we might have to tweak schematically, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams.
Obviously, all these guys have played in front of fans before, but you know, the rookies, sometimes they come into training camp and talk a little bit about the jitters, seeing fans at their practices. How are these couple days and seeing fans at the OTA practices kind of helping the rookies settle in?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know how many fans are going to be out there today, so I'm sure that kind of dictates how they feel. You know, if there's only a couple people out there, then it'll probably feel like any normal practice. But certainly the more people that are there, sometimes it just inherently adds a little bit of pressure to it.
You talk about how this is going to be similar in format to the OTAs. Is there another layer in learning the offense that you can replicate here with Aaron and having guys around him that you can't have that layer when he's not here, and how do you balance that? Yeah,
it's really, that's a byproduct of just all the little things that he does on the field, all the little, whether it's giving guys a signal or changing something up, and that is going to be, I guess, kind of an unknown right now to see how these guys potentially respond in those situations. It's not just the young guys, it's guys that he doesn't have a lot of time with, like a Sammy Watkins, who it's really, you know, their first time together out there on the field as well.
Yeah, Rob asked you about Sammy. So the 2 OTAs that were open to us, Sammy wasn't here. Did he take part in any of the other OTAs that we weren't allowed to watch?
Yeah, he's been here quite a bit. I don't have the exact number in front of me, so apologize for that. But I don't really keep score. We just coach who's here, and I've got other guys that kind of handle the attendance portion of it.
But he's at least taken part in a couple of
Yeah, absolutely. He was here. I want to say he was here for 2 of the practices last week, and prior to that as well.
Matt, you've had more change on your offensive coaching staff this year than you've had, where do you feel you guys are at in that process of coming together as a group, and how would you characterize it?
Yeah, well, a lot of us have known each other and have been around each other, so that makes it a little bit of a smoother transition. But certainly, there's been some learning curves along the way, and I know I've gotten much more involved with some of the things in terms of the planning. But I think our guys are doing a great job. I think you know, it's been fun to kind of dive back into it a little bit more and roll your sleeves up, and you know, went through every clip that we've put on tape over the last 3 years. So it's been a good off season.
Now, does Aaron being here mean you don't get to throw in any drills today now?
Yeah, my elbow's feeling a little sore anyway, so.
Tom, 2 more?
This weekend, you were at Sean's wedding, and I think you saw a bunch of your former colleagues, and how many of you guys have ascended in the league. What's your takeaway from that, about that group that you got with 10 years ago?
Yeah, no, it's fun. Anytime you get around your friends, it's always a good time, and to celebrate that occasion with him, and you know, that was a special moment, and it was a quick turnaround, landing and spending about 30 hours in Southern California, then turning around and coming back here. But we had a great time. It's always great to see all those guys, and not only are they great coaches, but first and foremost, they're great people, and we just had a great time.